is, of course, in celebration of the new album. Congratulations. And when anyone sees this conversation we're about to have for the next hour or so, album's going to be out. I always like to ask a band in terms of like what that release feels like. I've heard everything from, it feels like you're giving birth to a kid. It feels like a kid's leaving the house. Is it more of a feeling of, what does it feel like when an album finally hits the world?
This one feels like lockdown. This album feels like a big fat quarantine in your face. Usually it's mixed emotions from my end. Sometimes like the last record, it was technically a journal. So it felt miserable when the record was about to come out. I felt ripped wide open and bare naked ladies and Nickelback, Puddle of Mud's new cover of Nirvana all at the same time.
Oh God, that's so terrible.
But this record, I think we've been in such a positive place, and that's kind of been the theme of all the conversations I've had about the record, is the mental and physical and emotional well-being of the band, and the connectedness and togetherness of this creative process was just on another level that we've never even stepped close to. So yeah, this record, even though we're all in lockdown and can't be out there playing and experimenting and being in the face, it's a celebration. I think that if we didn't have this situation happening right now, we'd all be in a lot more miserable of a place than we are. So yeah, I'm excited. This is a historical moment for the Used. I feel like this is a really kind of says a lot about the 20 years of hard work so far.
Well, I want to, I think I love that you took it there, Bert, with that question, because I'm trying to get back to square one, because I think it's really important to understand square one when you listen to this record, because it's such a return to origins in so many ways. I mean, we're going to talk to Feldmann in a few minutes. Signed you guys back in 2002. Producing this one, you guys just came off of a tour where you're playing probably some of those same rooms, those smaller venues that you did in 2001, 2002. And then the sounds, you know what I mean? The what this record sounds like, it's so unapologetically you guys, while also sounding very 2020. But where did this whole inspiration to sort of like get back to square one start?
Just the approach to the record. We didn't have any preconceived kind of plans for success. We didn't want to do anything outside of our comfort zone as far as musical influences, but we did want to feel like we felt when we were first making those first couple legendary Used records, or where we were at in our lives when we first heard those Used records, I guess. Yeah, I like to talk about our approach as being just two simple things. We wanted to make songs that felt close to our childhood and our musical background. We wanted to make songs that we love to listen to, is a better way to put it. But we also wanted to make songs that were true to the Used kind of legacy, in catchy and able to sing along to, and also just close to the heart. And I think we definitely did that.
What if you could even boil it down further, like what inspired that desire to feel that way again? Was it a bit of and maybe not at all, but was it a bit of feeling like you guys lost your way, or lost your, bands sometimes talk about the why. What's our why? Why are we doing this? Especially with the legacy that you guys have.
Not our way, but I think music has been in a weird place from 2005 to 2015, and maybe even further on. There's been I feel like there's been a real absence of that soulful connection that music, that's been the most important part about music, is the artist kind of in the song, right? Just like an author's in a book, just like a painter's in a painting. And I feel like maybe humans are just bad enough at adjusting to technology that it was a bit of a soulless kind of, we've had a lot of garbage music in the last 10 years about possessions and maybe just smashing. It's been a so I think everybody's kind of, I think that it kind of I think it shows with this resurgence of soulful and heartfelt music now that people were missing that connection. And for us, that connection is everything. We've always been a band that makes music that gets to the core of things. We want our music to be like a little philosophical journey, like you're going to church. You know, we make music for the diehard dedicated fans. That's who we are.
Right. I'll kick it to Dan or Joe or Jeff for this one, but like, is that Bert's talking about right now, that shared emotion, right? Like that sort of communal energy of music when you're actually talking about something and not just bragging about, was it smashing, Bert, you said? You know, over the past 10 years or so. And I totally can attest to that as a music fan. Is that what made you guys want to be in a band in the first place, in terms of making music that was substantial and had depth?
I mean, for me, absolutely. I grew up listening to bands like The Used, and it's a bizarre situation to be in now, but it's really cool to come to the table, having been influenced in my whole musical journey by these guys that have always been really good at painting pictures of emotions, and through all of The Used records, that's never gone away. So a unique situation for me to get to come in and feel like me being genuine is the same as what the band has always done. And yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
It's about being inspired or inspiring too. Just the idea of creating something from nothing and having that be kind of like a part of you, like a bass line or a drum line or guitar line or vocals or lyrics or whatever it is, whatever you're inspired to put that out there, that will inspire maybe someone else to put it out there too. It's just like a chain of, yeah.
Right. Dan, any thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, I totally agree with all of it. For me, it's, it's super personal. It's like, I don't know, it's been since day one. No matter what I'm doing, what project, it becomes a part of you. It's like you fight over it, you hug over it, you argue over it, all these things. But at the end of the day, everybody's doing it for the same reason. And I think, we all do it because we love it. We all love The Used. The Used is, it's a lifestyle for me. Like it's a part of me. It's one of my arms, or extra arm, or whatever, however you want to put it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I love how you put that, Dan, because it is for your fans too, and sort of like the Used family, if you will. It is that sort of like that limb, if you will. I want to talk about the writing process of this album, because it was a somewhat of a, if I understand this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, it was a long writing process, but a relatively short period of time in the studio recording it. I think you started writing this thing, I guess, back in 2018. Is that always how it goes for The Used? Is it the long writing process and short recording time, or has it actually been the inverse of that in albums past?
I think it just depends. This record, we had 3 or 4 sessions at Joey's house. Joey had a little makeshift studio that has recently since been turned into a quite a real studio, and it's huge. Everyone's there. It's huge. He has all the best people there.
Yeah.
He has all the best
all
equipment.
Of them.
He has all
you
the
name
best.
it, he's there. He's here.
But yeah, that's just par for this course. We were doing quite a bit of touring, but we still wanted to split it up and have moments of writing and creative moments in between. So we would do 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here. And then when we finally decided on a producer and went in with Feldmann, he wanted to start from scratch. So the 25 or so demos with vocal ideas just got pushed aside, and we were all completely happy with that. I think we were just up for anything, and we had our hearts open, our minds open, and we were ready for the process. And in the studio, it was the same. It was a similar vibe. We'd do 2 weeks on, and then take a month or two, and then do another 2 weeks. And I think total we were in the studio for like 45, 50 days, maybe, I don't know, something like that. And we had about 30 demo / real songs that we were pretty excited about. So there'll definitely be some be some additional releases down the road. But whenever I get on a ramble like that, I always forget the question. So hopefully it was.
Love rambles like that. You apologize to say we chatted last week, as I was saying on Instagram Live, and some of your rambles they wind up being better than whatever the hell question I asked. But
Keep talking, man.
do you guys like that that approach of like some downtime in between, or because I've also talked to artists that almost liken it to an athletics event where you're gonna you want to stay in the rhythm of the game, the proverbial game, if you will. Did it provide you guys greater reflection on what you actually were laying down, or in hindsight would you have rather it a different way?
I love this personally.
Yeah. Jeff?
The only reason that I like to be sorry, who's talking?
You're talking right now.
Take
Sounds
it.
like it.
I was just gonna say I don't mind either way, but the only reason I do like to do it back to back is because it's fun. Like I like, oh shit, I don't have anything going on tomorrow, I'm not going to the studio. Like I love being up there and like and just it's just fun. Every day was fun. I think one day I punched Bert in the face.
Just one?
I didn't. Was it 2 days? No, I punched him twice in the face. I did like
twice in one day, but it was like once in the morning and once way late at night.
We're talking about the recording process, and I'd love to bring in John Feldmann right now, who I've told we're doing this on Zoom, by the way, if you're watching this and enjoying it on Adam release day. But there he is. He's popping up.
Yes.
And we're connecting to audio. The very patient John Feldmann. Thanks for waiting, man. I know you were in the waiting room here on Zoom.
I'm just sitting here, jacked on coffee. It's all good.
That's my guy.
You guys missed this thing right here? You miss it?
Oh yeah.
I wish we were there. I was just gonna say, I wish we were all in that room right now, writing a sweet ass tune.
Yeah, me too, man. I think Bert used this machine more than anybody in the history of that machine. Whenever we'd be like, where did Bert go? We would just come in this room and he'd be like, black coffee, extra espresso, more coffee.
2 shots of espresso and pour that black right over the top. Yeah, I miss that. I miss that machine. Not as much as I miss you, John.
I miss you too. Is that your garden?
This is just a little. That's our neighbor's tree, but yeah, we've got a really pretty backyard.
Oh, it looks awesome, man! It looks like a beautiful day there, and you're in Sydney.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's getting a little chilly. We're headed towards winter, but it's lovely to be down under. Only 75 deaths here, guys.
Good.
Great.
We're coming there.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, John,
can't come in.
If you can hear, we were just talking, and I don't know if you get a waiting room here on Zoom, but just about there's such a throughway to this album and a theme, if you will, is this sort of like return to origin, and you're the perfect guy to talk to about this because not only did you craft the sound of the album, but you were also there in 2001. You signed the band in 2002. Just to take it back to those days really quickly, what are your initial memories of the guys and why you were so excited about this band then?
Well, I don't think Bert gave a fuck about anything other than getting his music heard, at the time. I mean, I'm sure he cared about a lot of stuff, but man, he was so just, here you go. This is me. This is the music. Listen. And then just got thrown off the bus. It was like, I couldn't ignore the passion that he had for the music that they had made at the time. And so the next day, when I actually got around to listening to the little cassette, I put it in my thing and I'm like, holy shit, man, that guy can fucking sing different than anyone I have ever heard ever in my life. And I'm like, I have to get to know this dude. I remember we went, what was that vegan place who we ate at in Salt Lake City? It was
the Chinese-based one, right?
The Chinese place.
What was that place called?
I can't ever remember.
Closed down and moved it.
I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. But I remember the first time I actually sat down with you guys, it was like we were just eating vegan food. And Bert, I think you just. What I remember from our first kind of real hang in Salt Lake City, Bert just kind of sat there. I don't think he ate anything and stared straight ahead and was just like, I'm like, this fucking guy is on another fucking level. I have to work with this fucking band no matter what. And then when he came in the studio, I remember he set up the fucking remember the trash can next to your C12 microphone, and I had this like $30,000 microphone, and right next to it a trash can for him to throw up. And I'm like the microphone and the trash can are really close to each other. So God, I hope it doesn't just get on the microphone. I remember thinking that, and it never did. Right? Was the first day we worked together, was that fucking Halloween? Like the first day?
That seems like when you came to pick us up, yeah, because we all got dressed up that night. We went to the little dollar shop by your house and bought costumes. What an epic moment.
I remember you had blood coming out of your mouth, and I think we just put sheets on and like.
Oh yeah, I got a picture of that. That's right.
I was such a hard-headed. I was what I thought to be this hardcore kid. So I was kind of just anti everything. I didn't even know what we were doing in Los Angeles. I was really hard to work with back then. I quit the band for a couple weeks while we were making the first record and disappeared. I met someone in Santa Barbara, I think, and turned my phone off and I was in a really weird place. I was freaking out about what I thought was a big sellout move, I suppose.
I'm so glad you didn't fucking quit, man. That would have been horrible. This phone call would be a lot different.
Well, I want to pose this question to both John and Bert. And you talk, Bert, about back in the day, and it's funny. I think it's a generational thing in terms of that, that sensitivity towards the notion of selling out and, being a hardcore kid and maybe taking things in hindsight, being 2020, maybe a bit too seriously. Is there a song on this record, because I have one in my opinion, but in your guys, from producer to artist, that you would have never done 20 years ago, 15 years ago?
Quite a few of them. I mean, being a punk rock kid, or maybe even worse than that, being a kid who's intolerant to anything that had a tiny bit of success. I think it was just meeting John Feldmann and kind of being around that world that I immediately kind of left all that stuff in the past and wanted to be a part of music so badly that I would have really done anything besides, I wasn't really capable of going that far outside of the kid I was, which is just I was in a crazy place. I just come from a pretty serious meth addiction and was kind of holding on for dear life at that point. There's Clean Cut Heels is the obvious go-to for me. It's one of the poppiest tracks the Used has ever produced, and even some in-band fighting amongst each other about not fighting, but definitely not everyone's favorite. And for me, that's my world. That's my wheelhouse. Before I was a kind of intolerant, ignorant hardcore kid, I came from just a 80s pop music background. So just Michael and Janet Jackson and Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston for me. So this kind of stuff that sounds like my childhood, like Dolly Parton meets the Bee Gees, is just something I love so much. It's just, and to have a record that is uncompromisingly modern sounding and it stand up next to any of the new records coming out, we're so honored to still have the relationship with Feldmann. It's such a pleasure to be around someone that's so on the cusp of what's happening at every moment in the music industry. It's awesome.
No, thanks, man. I was thinking, if my opinion of that question is probably Paradise Lost, Blow Me, and maybe Bloody Nose. Maybe those songs could have been on the first record. Maybe. I think that this album is a collection of it's really like the discography of the Used, like kind of like this modern, this like song like Cathedral Bells and Clean Cut. Is that what you're calling it now?
Clean Cut Heels.
Those songs, yeah, I think I totally agree with Bert. I mean, those songs wouldn't have made album one. It's just we weren't there. We just weren't there yet. And I think that you know, we're able to experiment with so many different sounds now. And I was so stoked that the entire band was just open-minded to try anything.
The story you shared, John, of the juxtaposition of a $30,000 microphone and then, you know, a Bert's trash can, I think is such a beautiful parallel to what I think makes this new record so special. And what you guys as a collective producer and band have accomplished with it is that it's so unapologetically and authentically used, right? But it sounds, I mean, I don't even want to just say modern. It sounds like the future. It sounds incredibly impressive and urgent and now. As a producer, John, can you talk to me about the approach of, because you're not just dealing with any band, you're dealing with a band with a legacy, you're dealing with a band with a diehard fan base, right, that wants their band, whatever that means to that fan. But you also, as a producer, you want to make this sound like a great 2020 album. How did you approach that?
I mean, look, song is king. And I think collectively, when we started having the initial meetings about doing this record, we all talked about song wins. And so I think we really started most of these songs with either a concept, a lyric, or some sort of melody that Bert would have. And they would kind of, and then I would be able to kind of take it into my world once, you know, Dan's such a fucking great drummer. He would come in there somewhere in the beginning of the process, lay down a loop or a beat, and we would take that and expand it with programming, strings, and with all the stuff that we did until we all felt like this is a sound that none of us have really ever heard. I felt like we all pushed each other. And I had never worked with Joey before this record, and Joey's such an incredible guitar player that I mean, it was so easy to come up with the sound once we had the structure and the concept of the song, you know. And even a song like Lighthouse, where, you know, Jeff just started just slapping the bass. We're like, holy shit, this all fucking it just came together. Each song had its own moment in the process that we all like, this is untouchable. I mean, I felt like that. I haven't really talked to the guys in a while, but I felt like it.
Dude, it was every day. I was just saying before you got on there, every day was fun. And I enjoyed coming up there every day, no matter what we were doing, no matter who was there. Just being in there and being a part of it all, it was just so much fun. And it was so easy because we were all so open-minded. And we looked great.
I've been in a place in my musical career where I felt like traumatic life moments were always the best moments to write music. But I think this record, we were in a pretty good place the entire time, and that was really cohesive for this productive. We were on fire in there. I think that was partly to do with just the long time relationship that we've had. We've all been family for so long, and Joey fits right in like a glove, like a sandwich cookie. And yeah, Joey Feldmann took to Joey really quickly, which was amazing. And for the process, it was, when people ask what it was like, I just say it's not fair to even talk about, because it was just waking up when my body naturally woke up, going to the studio, drinking coffee with my friends until there was something deep in somebody's heart that needed to be put into a song. And then we would stay around the studio until the demo was done, and every day was full of love, and man, it was seriously magic. It was.
Awesome. Well, you can really shine through on the record. I want to kick it to John one more time about a production question, but he brought up, Jeff, your bass line on the Lighthouse. Can you tell us a little bit about that and laying that down?
Yeah, I don't even really remember how it came about. There's 2 slap parts on the record, which is funny because I don't think I'd ever slap on a record, but it just kind of
I feel as though I remember you were messing around, slapping on it, like getting ready to jam, sitting down, and then everyone was just like, oh, we should probably record that and maybe see what it feels like real quick. And that was the part. And it was so good.
There was such a good energy in the studio and hanging back to everybody there supporting each other. And a lot of the really, really amazing things on this record came from just moments of improv or maybe jokes that turned into, whoa, actually, like, hey, dude, try to play some slap bass, man. And Jeff's like, I remember take 2. He's like, I don't think I can slap. What you heard was Jeff's first joking around attempt at slapping at a cool part. And we were all like, wait, That is it, actually. So
We probably
I mean,
slapped that bass for 2 hours straight. I bet. Like just slapping it.
That's what I usually do.
So good.
yeah, and it feels good to have most of the magic moments and the moments that feel like heavy and we will remember. Those moments came from just hanging out and having a good time. That's quite rare.
Well, that was
Yeah, a lot
that
of
was.
the moments.
Go ahead, Jeff.
A lot of the things you said were perfect too. It's like how a lot of the moments just like we captured the essence of it when it happened. You know what I mean? Like directly. Like even there's a video of Bert playing. I mean, I'm pointing out Bert playing guitar again, but Bert playing the guitar to the verse, man, of poetic track. Fuck, sorry, my brain's shut on here.
No one's gonna.
Paradise
Don't help
Lost.
him.
Paradise Lost, yeah. But him actually playing the guitar to that, and we getting a video of it, and that's the actual take of it, and everybody's cheering him on after he played that part. You know, there was a lot of that was happening. Everybody was so involved and so excited, and same as everyone else said, this is the most fun I've ever had making a record. I felt comfortable. I'm not very easy to feel comfortable. I'm a little nervous, Nancy. But yeah, I felt great. There's so much love involved that it was epic.
Every time you got done recording, well, at least if you're coming from my neighborhood, and Bert was in my neighborhood sometimes, but every time you came in, after you're done doing your thing, lots of high fives, lots of claps, lots of hugs. It was great.
Yeah.
Man. I walk into a room here and it's like, shit.
No one's going to clap.
No wife claps.
Yeah, there was a conscious effort to involve everybody's ideas, and everybody was an equal partner in Dan's vocal ideas were just as important to this record as my drum ideas, and everywhere in between. Everybody's say counted, and we tried everything. There was not a moment where we had any no's coming out. It was like, let's try it. Why wouldn't we try that? Of course we would.
Well, and we were working nonstop. I think, you know, I just was thinking about the Lighthouse. Like, I think I was sitting on John's couch while everyone was finishing lunch, just kind of jamming that little riff. And John walked in and was like, hey, that's cool. Let's track it real quick. And then, you know, it turned into one of my favorite songs on the record. And, you know, a really powerful moment that if John isn't always firing off and ready to go, we wouldn't have caught it.
Dude,
Just have a great way to allow the people to feel comfortable. I mean, I think that we've never felt so comfortable in a studio, and recording stuff on the spot. It's like, let's do it. Let's record it. Let's get it in there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I want to say this is probably the first record I've made where we really did write and record the song the same day it was written. Like a lot of times,
almost every day,
you'll write a song and then you'll live with it, learn the parts, come back a week or two later after pre-production, and then record it then. But this was like, let's go, let's get it down. And I feel like everyone's passion and that energy that happened the same day that we wrote, it was just so cool to have that, and to have that luxury of just kind of like, we would sit in this room, which is my coffee room, and talk about ideas. And then we go outside and write lyrics, you know, talk about ideas, talk about concepts, and then just go in and record it that same fucking day. And it's like Bert's voice, I don't remember has ever sounded this good, like as far as being able to consistently go as hard as I push him. Because I'm never going to take, you know, I'm never going to accept anything better than like what I think the world is going to hear is the best Bert McCracken performance. And he would just keep going until we would get it. And then the next day we'd sing again. We used to have to take like 7, 8, 9 days off sometimes between songs because he would be so blown out, partying, whatever. It was just different.
I think the quickness of the process as well, like moving on after we finished a song a day and then moving to the next song, kind of created a cool opportunity for us to not overthink the record as well. When we would come back to a song, we weren't like, it's not like we had been thinking about what parts to change for a full week. It's like, oh, I remember this one. This one's really good. Yeah. So yeah, it was a smooth way to get in there.
Yeah. Also, like the idea that you were living your life and you were waking up on your normal, like you would wake, you know, you're training till what, like 7 a.m. You're staying up all night, fucking training at 4, whatever your workout schedule is, which is so inhumane, but whatever. And then you come in. I remember you came in my kitchen. You're like, I want to be big. And we're like, that's the fucking song. I want to be big. You just had this idea because you were like working out. I want to be big. And then we wrote one of my favorite songs on the record over you just talking about your life, you know?
Yeah, there was a lot of force feeding on this record, just trying to gain a lot of pounds.
Oh,
Box
man.
of donuts here, box of donuts there.
Yeah, there were donuts for sure.
Donuts galore. We gotta love it.
Speaking at the risk of being too literal with the story, the word big, that's how I would describe the sound of this album. And when you listen to it, it kind of really beautifully surrounds you. When you guys are crafting the direction of it early on in the process, do you guys talk about words that come to mind with what you want it to sound like, or is it more of a nuance?
I think it feels more natural. It's kind of whatever comes from the moment. I think the feelings and what we mentioned about us having the powwow before we even start, whether it comes from something as small as like me joking around about wanting to be huge, or me also hating social media more than I ever have. So it's just a feeling in the day. Sorry, Dan, what's that?
Oh, I was saying that I just want to feel something. I remember that day. You know what I mean? That really sticks out in my mind. And then that song was written, and it's perfect. It's classic, you know?
Yeah, I think the basic sediment, I think the basic concept, or just a piece of a lyric will kind of set the mood for how the song sounds. And sometimes there'll be a little bit of tweaks here and there, but along the way, I think the thought process was really quick. There wasn't a lot of time to second guess ourselves.
Right.
Wow. You hear my daughter's screaming. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself for a
Dan, I'm glad you brought up the Feel Something record. And to me, I paid a lot of attention to the sequencing, and I don't know if you guys gave a lot of thought to it, but it almost feels like that's like what it all boils down to at the end of the day, and what the whole record boils down to is that final song. Was there an actual active discussion of to end the record with that song specifically?
It just felt
Sorry.
Yeah, it just felt them. I think there was a lot of the sequencing ideas were minds would link up. It was really kind of cohesive ideas. There's a few songs here and there that people felt a tiny bit differently about, which I think the fans kind of make up their own mind about that. But basically the sequencing felt kind of, the story had already told itself, it feels like, with the exception of a few things here and there. I think that walking through this record in its entirety tells the story perfectly. And I do remember 3 or 4 of us being like, that should be the end song.
Yeah, our sequencing lists were always pretty close to one another, because we'd all kind of make our own thing, and they were always pretty close.
Totally.
We definitely spent time. We spent time sequencing. We spent time on song titles as well. I mean, I think we all really want this. We knew probably first week of recording, we were making something really, really special. And we wanted to make sure that it came across with the art that's involved with the album, with the song titles, with the sequencing, that everything is going to matter on this record. It's not just about picking the singles and kind of piecing it together. We had to make this thing, like, for me, it's a piece. I mean, it really, truly is a piece of art. And I don't know. I fucking love this album so much. And it was funny because in hindsight, like, I was really hesitant about Blow Me being the first. And I was vocal about it. I'm like, I don't know if Blow Me should be the first thing that people hear. And now it's like become top 3 on the record. Like, when I train, that's like the first song I work out to. It's like such a fucking epic song to work out to. And it just, the chorus is so great, you know? And I just think sequencing is so important. I'm still an album listener, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are. I know people digest music very differently than they did 10, 15 years ago, but there are people that still listen start to finish. So it's really important to me.
Well, as somebody that kind of, I think just as a fan, I straddle that line of generations between albums versus the streaming age. What you guys have done, and I mean this in the best of ways, it sounds like the used playlist. And I don't know if that was a concerted effort or not, but there's so many different, at the risk there, for lack of a better term, like vibes on this album, or just moods, or just, facets of what we've loved about you guys over the years, that it feels like a great album, but it feels like a really great playlist too.
We love a record. We love a front to back story. I spend most of my time in a book, and I think that the best way to learn something about yourself as a human is through an amazingly told story. So
I remember the first time I played Feel Something. Remember when we had that rough mix, Bert, and the first time I played it in the studio, and you just like lost it. It was like really emotional, especially that last, where that distorted synth bass comes in and just blows up the speakers. Like you were like, I remember watching you, and you were just, I knew if we could feel something in that moment, you know, to use the title of the song, that the world's going to feel something. I knew it.
Yeah. When I first heard what we did, and it was that specific sentiment has been maybe haunting me for the last, you know, couple years. And I think that everybody's in that same boat. This quarantine and this time, I think, is putting everything into this huge perspective. Life is so fragile, and living in the moment is so important. And that's always been a big part of the Used message. But yeah, playing that song for the first time through, I felt like it was 4 or 5 years of pent up emotion coming out. Like I had this exorcism. It's just, and that's only happened to me in the studio maybe once or twice. And it just goes to show that like the connection with that music is everything. It's so awesome.
Absolutely. And I think that's a kind of if you want to call it a silver lining of what we're going through right now is I think authenticity, and I think this record is going to reign supreme, I should say. And I think that people want real, and I think this record is going to give them that. They're telling me that Caleb's actually like in the waiting room and can hop in.
What's up, Caleb?
Yeah.
My dude.
Yeah, dog.
Oh, look at all these beautiful people. How we doing?
Yeah, dog.
Having a good time?
Yeah,
dog. Good to see you, man. How are you?
Good, man. Just holding up, you know, doing what everyone else is probably doing, trying to write and, you know, just stay sane, the usual.
Caleb, where are you
That's it.
quarantining?
I'm at home. Yeah, I'm chilling in Columbus, Ohio. Just at the house, you know what I mean? Easy enough. Could be worse.
They're gonna open up all those middle states in no time. You don't got any problems, man.
Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Bowling alleys first, churches second.
Dude, we're on the fast track. Not good.
Well, Caleb, the matter at hand, and the business at hand, I guess I could say, is you obviously are on the new record, and thank you very much for talking about it. The track is called "The Lottery," and I think if I remember, Bert told me did you record your vocals in a rather unusual place?
Yeah, I did it in the Fillmore in Philadelphia's green room, like a few minutes before we went on stage. Yeah, I got hit up about the idea, sent me the song, and I was like, this is fucking insane. Like, the song was wild, and I was all about it. So, yeah, just, I mean, got the concept from Bert, talked about shit for a minute, and then I just kind of winged something, and, yeah, it worked out. I was really stoked on it. Honestly, kind of pushed me a lot.
We had been talking to this band Knock Loose about a month, but the singer Brian just kept having to go back on tour or just never got around to it. And it was a blessing in disguise that we had to look elsewhere. And Beartooth wasn't necessarily in my headphones all the time, so when I took the first couple of days before we reached out to him to jam some music while I was working out, I fell in love. His voice is perfect for the track. I mean, I can't imagine the track without his voice now. He absolutely killed it. I remember Jackson story from when I was in junior high, and so when I reached out to him, I had all these lyrics, but I'm like, I prefer if you wrote, because then you feel closer to the song, and here's the kind of basic concept. And he killed it. He devoured it, and
totally killed it.
Yeah,
thanks, fellas.
It's rare to find artists who are that driven and get stuff done really, really quickly. I know that for me, I probably wouldn't have been able to pull it off. So so much love and respect, especially for recording the song right before you went on stage. That's an incredible warm up.
Well, yeah, I figured. I mean, it was like I was already as warmed up as I was gonna be. Might as well just let it happen, and if it works, it works. And I don't know.
Might as well just do the most brutal part ever. So good.
Dude, honestly though, man, like I feel like that's some of my like most proud lyrics I've written in a long time. Like the whole concept and everything was really fucking cool. Vibe was cool. I just fucking bottle, man. It felt good.
So great. And I recently went back and read that short story, and our song standing up next to it. I think this whole record has the coolest way to kind of involve ourselves in great art and as this kind of cool homage, but it's still so modern and so used. And this was the one kind of part on there's one part on this record that John Feldmann was just kind of adamant that should not be on the record. And it's when the song goes from that hardcore breakdown that Caleb just absolutely killed back into that fast punk rock part. Every time John Feldmann's like, no way, that ruins the song.
Well, dude, it wasn't there on the first draft. When I cut the vocal, it wasn't there. And then it came back when you sent me the final, and I was like, what? I thought that was Feldy. I thought Feldy was going to be like, we need another fucking chorus. It's great. I can't believe you.
That was us to put it back in there. He's like, it's so corny. I'm like,
I remember
when there's a big circle.
We actually cut it for a while. Remember that? And then the one night we were all sitting up and listening to it over and over, and we're like,
after that,
it's gotta come back, man.
Wait.
Yeah. I'm back in the move.
Look, I got kids like some of us on this call, and so I'm up at like fucking 6:30 every morning, and it's like that's the one thing that like I suffer is because I bail out of the studio around 9:30 or 10, and then these guys go in there and like I would cut that end section and I'd wake up the next morning and they would put it back in, and then I literally did it 3 fucking times. I'm like, fuck this part. This part is so cheesy, and then they would just put it back in, and finally, like the end, I couldn't. I just gave up. I just fucking gave up, and they.
Hilarious.
That's great.
It is such a jammer, though. It is so cool that we were able to experiment in the studio, and I think that what happened was just like so many moments on this record, so serendipitous that your voice kind of fits in so perfectly and feeds this story and the concept. And the heaviest song the Used has ever produced. It's such a good feeling.
Well, hey, I mean, fucking thanks for the call. I mean, that shit, I'm not gonna turn down being on a fucking Used record. That's sick.
Right before your show. Great.
Dude, I'm so lucky to have known Caleb for so long. I mean, we've worked together on like 4 different records now, and I just I love you so much. I've known you since you were what, like 18, 19, dude, probably?
No, younger, man. I think I was literally 17 I think I was 17 when we first like wrote together. Maybe I was 18, but yeah, it's been a long time, dude. It was cool, man. And
I always
I was hoping to be in LA at this point in time, writing for our new record and hoping that we could do some shit. But as you know, things unfold, not exactly in the cards. And also, I hope we can all get back on tour so I can come out and do that shit and we can fucking actually do it live. That'd be sick.
I know. We were thinking, if anything, this should lead to a sick tour together. That would be a dream just come true.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That'd be fucking amazing. I always, whenever you came and visited me the first time out here, I always tell the story, and I know it's not true, but I tell it anyway. I go, the first time you ever came out to my house in Calabasas, you were driving through Old Town Calabasas, and you get to my house and you say, "This is such a lovely city you live in, Calabasas." And I always tell people, it's Caleb from Beartooth. I thought it was Hoppus, and I know it's not you, but I call you out every time.
That's fine, man. That's okay. Whoever you need for that story, I'll
Calabasas.
Caleb Calabasas.
shit. I do remember trying to go into your old house, like trying to go through your back door after you moved, and I didn't know. That's fucking real.
Oh shit! I had no idea.
Are you serious?
No, I didn't know you went to my old
Dude,
house.
you probably didn't hear about that. Yeah, we went to your old place in Bel Air when you had moved, and like we're like, oh, he's got to be here. Maybe he got a new car, a different car in the driveway, and like walked around, like pounding on the back door, and then someone called us and was like, yo, he fucking moved. Get out of there. Yeah, I mean, we've had some crazy times, but yeah. Kalaba sauce, I'll let you have that one. That's
Jason's actually on the line. Are you cool hanging out and we bring Jason in?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Dude, it's a party.
Yeah. That's great.
There he is.
Yo, man.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a big ass call. Like there's a gang of people on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is that gang.
Gang. Holy. I'm like swiping through, looking at all the different people. Oh my god, that was great.
Good, man.
How are you, man?
Heartwork out now. Who's that?
That's our legendary guest. Legacy solidified.
I fucked with that person. Hell yeah.
Jason, thanks for this, man, and hopping on with us. For anyone who hasn't heard the record yet, you're on the second song on this thing, Blow Me. How did you become a part of this, for those that don't know?
Honestly, I'm a used super fan, and I just waited outside the studio until they let me in, and I just jumped on the track.
Man, we feel bad.
Yeah. I talk about the charity in my own project, but this is a charity for me. They did that for me. It's like a make-a-wish kind of thing.
Get this kid in here.
So thank
I just
y'all.
won a contest. Well, Bert, why was Jason the right feature for Blow Me? Because you can tell just from, you're in great company, as you should be, Jason, of who is guested on the record. But how did you guys go about the features?
We had so many amazing moments on tour when we toured with Fever, and we've just been in awe of Jason's sincerity, his abilities. He's a mesmerizing frontman. Everybody will attest to him putting his whole physical self into his performance. He is a living legend. And so just the fact that we have a relationship is pretty mind-boggling to me. But not only that, we've gone the distance together in conversation about this world, and his mind is a beautiful place to kind of sit. And yeah, we always knew from back in the day. From the first time I saw Let Live. Congrats on all the celebratory stuff right now too. But yeah, the first time I ever saw Let Live was I remember thinking, man, I have to work with this guy. Somehow I have to work with this guy. And yeah, John's studio is a magical place, being that he has worked with everyone. He's worked with the genreless, all over the place, from pop stars to rappers to everyone. And so being in there in this comfortable place, I think it brings out the best in people. And we sent the track to Jason. I thought, having a little bit of a political edge in this weird double entendre world that always seems to fit so perfectly with the Used, we thought he was the perfect person to kind of give the loaded gun to, and he came and killed it. We have the video of him doing like the 3 takes that it took to make the track.
So good.
Right on the spot, just assassinated. It's such a pleasure to be in the same room watching somebody do what he does. It's incredible.
Right on. John, if I can kick it to you really quick, man. We have some of the best live acts in music today on the Zoom right now. And I know you're a huge believer in just the Used being one of the best live acts you've ever seen. As a producer, how do you ensure that, that doesn't get lost in a studio environment, that live energy that makes whether it's Fever or Beartooth or the Used, like just a great live show. How do you both capture that energy and then also just not lose that energy?
Well, I mean, Jason is definitely, I mean, look, I think these three guys right here that are right below me on this Zoom call, I mean, I got Bert, Caleb, and Jason all back to back, and they're all so unique in what they do. And Jason, I don't know. I mean, I haven't worked a lot of times. Caleb records his own vocals. I mean, most of the times I think you're kind of producing yourself. So I haven't, all I know is between Jason and Bert, I don't think there's anyone in the world that are better at ad-libs than these two motherfuckers right here. I literally remember when we were doing that Machine Gun Kelly track, even last time I was in the studio with you, Bert, you just we just started from the beginning, and I think you heard the song maybe twice, and you just blasted. It was fucking incredible. And and it's I think I was out of town when you guys recorded Blow Me with Jason, right? I don't think I was even there.
Yeah. It was a late night. It was
really late, yeah.
I mean, there's no way I'd be asleep if Jason's screaming in my studio. I'm not sleeping. I mean, he's got one of the loudest voices ever, But it's, for me, it's like the ad-libs are what brings the song to life, and both these guys, in my experience, working with Fever 333 and working with the Used, those are the moments for me, once we have the song sort of structured and mapped out and they've written their lyrics and we've gone through it. And then at the very end of the session, we go start to finish ad-lib. And those are the moments that become the lead vocals. They become the parts that give me goosebumps, that make me feel like I'm at the show and I have that energy. And that's what I love about these two guys more than anything else, is they're fucking magic with that shit.
And that's a bit of a John Feldmann secret. Any producers who might be listening, you might want to steal that one, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the magic and making the song feel live like that is to putting yourself in that live situation. It's just making it feel, yeah, you just gave away one of your biggest tricks.
We're going to be joining, I don't know how long, but some Used fans are going to be on the Zoom call too, which is going to be really cool. And they'll be, bringing their perspective. I want to kick you to a few specific songs though on the album, if you guys don't mind, just to make sure we cover it within our Zoom today. In 1984, I just have in my notes here that, I heard this and I thought of it as almost like an audio roller coaster, where my ears did not know where the song was going. I loved it. Just kind of gorgeous chaos. Can you walk me through that song?
Yeah, we had a concept kind of laid out. I'm really close to the book Infinite Jest, and 1984 has always been one of my favorite books. And they kind of cross in this really cool world of not so dystopian now, what we feel like is such a story about the human race and the connection to technology. And yeah, the concept was the same as most of the other concepts on this record. Seems to have been kicking around for a long time. We had a really, really heavy kind of rock jam. The chorus, Slipknot-y sounding guitar stuff. And I think from there, or maybe it started with the Bird and the Worm-esque type of strings, but either way, I think that we started in one direction and then it took a full circle. We don't the Used doesn't have any songs with big bass drops. So at some point, maybe it was Jeff or Dan who kind of suggested maybe there should be a huge big bass drop for the bass heads out there. But yeah, having the opportunity to kind of go full circle, especially when the concept should feel so specific. It's one of my favorite Used songs. Such a cool track.
You've said in the past, Bert, and fellas, please weigh in if you attest to this as well, that this record features the poppiest Used song of all time and also the heaviest. I mean, you reference a Slipknot-esque anything right there. What led to that in terms of just wanting to go to sort of extremisms on each side of the spectrum?
I think I can speak for everyone when I say we just wanted to make stuff that felt true to who we were, and we all come from such different places musically. Everybody listens to all different stuff all over the board, so we wanted to involve everyone's passions in the best way we know how, and that's just kind of a mishmash think the Used first record was fairly specific and just true to what the new sound we thought was going to be. But around In Love and Death and Lies for the Liars, we really took some steps outside of our comfort zone with John Feldmann's lead that created a world where we feel like we can do anything in a record now. We feel like we've made kind of so outside the box moves in the past that we don't have any problem having a kind of a hip hop feel or a full blown bass drop on a song. Or it's never been a huge concern of ours where the fans want us to go either. It's just it's what feels right in the studio.
What song is 1984? Oh shit. That song is so gnarly. That drop, I remember like that fucking brown note of the 808.
Boy, what? That shit's fire, boy. That shit is fire.
we weren't. None of us were quite sure, but then Jason. That was around the time when Jason came in, and we had maybe 1 or 2 tracks to show him, and like he's smashing his head on the wall. He loved it. We're just like this. Oh, okay. I think it works then.
I just about killed somebody when I heard that shit. It was so good. It was so good. I have to interject. Anybody seeing this, listening, whatever, and what you know about the Used and everything that you've sort of heralded in your own mind and what you love and what you've invested in the Used, if you've got to understand that the Used is also about progress ideologically and sonically. That fucking song is a move forward. So get your fucking ears right, get your mind right, and fuck that motherfucking song. And if you got slugs, turn them bitches up for real.
That's great.
Like, that's the commercial for the album right there.
There you go, boy.
Yeah, straight up.
Too sweet. It's too sweet.
Well, going from something as heavy as that and intense as that is there's a particular somewhat calming or soft section of Wow, I Hate This Song that I wanted to talk to you about before if you want to expand on the whole concept of the song. But the ending of that song I just find so beautiful and I really love it. Can you tell me anything about Wow, I Hate This Song?
John has impeccable piano skills, and just sitting next to his keyboard for the last 23 years by his computer and his keyboard right there, he's really, really become an amazing piano player. So when we're 1984 has the same vibe. At the end of the song, he's like, what about a Beatlesy thing here? And kind of plays out a little part, and everyone's like, what? That's the part. That's it. That's amazing.
Just so long as listen in C major, I'm good.
Nice.
We're good. I think that's what everything with piano is in C major on.
With Wow, I Hate This Song, that's another one. I've been wanting to write that song for 10 years, just about the kind of the broken state of messages behind popular music in the last 10 years. But I think just like classic Used songs and double meanings, when we got in there, the song really became about the songs that you live with when you're going through moments in your life that are unbearable, and how those songs kind of can have the ability to take you right back to those moments. And sometimes that's an unbearable feeling. Sometimes songs carry this weight that's really hard to live with. And so the end felt like the really summation of the concept that sounds silly and could be kind of jovial in chorus with this really kind of catchy and poppy upbeat part, but then in the end you really hear the sincerity of the true message and that connection. This music has this unreal ability to connect us to our past like nothing else. Maybe smells and tastes, but it's right up there.
Yeah. That's really cool. I'm thinking about that. Jason and John, I want to thank both of you. They're telling me that the fans are ready. But John, thanks for the sound that you helped to craft, and Jason, thanks for hopping on this, man. I love the track.
You guys, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys so much.
John,
There you go.
love you. The Goldfinger shows, man, have been sick. I don't know if he's still here or not, but they were awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like the first fan is named Justin. And I don't know what.
Love, rock.
He comes from from Used Family, which I believe is a fan community, a fan account on social media. He's got a pretty cool question.
Oh, I know Justin. What up, dog? Hell yeah, I'll text him right now.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. It says his audio.
Oh yeah, what's up, dude?
Justin, you on the call?
Jeez.
Nice background.
Thanks.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, dude.
Justin, LA fan. What up? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Justin, thanks for doing this, man. You have a specific question for the band, I understand.
Yes, I actually do. So I know you guys mentioned that like Heartwork is a celebration of the Use's legacy. So in which way has your previous music influenced the new album?
I think everything as far as influence could be maybe a really super nice word for stuff we rip off, stuff we steal. So I think everything we put in our head and everything we kind of let into our heart becomes a part of us, and our subconscious is where we write the songs from. So every little bit of music we've ever created, but then everything else we've put into our minds and our hearts that's ever inspired us, it feels like a big conglomeration of all of my favorite things put together. And that usually only happens on the first record when you had 20 something years to kind of put together the material to put out, to jam pack it all into that one record. But for some reason, I feel like we were able to kind of capture more of our favorite stuff and more of our actual moods and feelings and the ups and downs of the Used better than we ever have on this one.
Oh yeah,
That's rad.
Right on.
That was sneaky, Joey, by the way.
Cool. Justin, thanks so much for calling in, man. That was a good question.
Yeah, thanks. Well, it's a pleasure seeing you guys.
Hey, man.
Great seeing you
Hopefully
too,
we'll see you guys
man.
on Sword soon.
Yeah, much
We'll see you
love.
soon, I
Hopefully
hope,
we'll
dude.
see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully, man. You guys stay safe and have a good one.
You too, Justin. That's awesome.
You used to be like every Used fan worldwide very jealous of Justin.
No, that's a normal thing. I imagine how many of these fans that show up that I give everyone my number. And
Really?
And our fans are really respectful. I never get bothered. Just
That's
certain
amazing.
times say what up, and that's what this band's all about.
That's really cool.
All
I
right.
had no idea that. We got Dominic on the line.
I don't have Dominic's number.
You can exchange digits after. The Used fan page is Dominic's account that he helps to run, and he's got a cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Had a little technical difficulty, but
Dominic, welcome, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Hey, my pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Cool. So you want to ask your question? This is a good one.
Yeah, for sure. What was your favorite song to work on for Heartwork? Like, what was the best, most fun, pretty much?
My most favorite song to work on was The Lottery. It was fun, really fun.
Yeah. I'm ready for this album, man. This is definitely something completely different.
Hell
But
yeah.
it's still the Used, though, which I like. It's still the Used, but like in 2020.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I picked The Lottery too. It was really cool to kind of draw from all sorts of different inspirations, but I've always wanted to have a really, really brutal classic hardcore breakdown in a Used song. So
Wow.
just able to kind of having a group of friends too who kind of, if one of us has an idea that we're passionate about, I think that the other three kind of really pick up on that quickly. It's like,
Hold on a minute.
we'll go out of the way.
Jeff Shane.
Right. Everyone kind of gets the vibe of the song and stuff.
Yeah, everyone will go
Yeah,
out of the way.
I'm ready to hear it, man. Definitely.
Jeff's going to
I'm
the
ready to
mall
hear
right
this
now.
one. Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, I'm at the mall right now. I'm shopping. Everything's closed now. I'm not sure what's going on.
Right, I was going to say.
Quarantine.
Everyone's closed.
Wait, what?
What's going on?
Oh,
Yeah,
everything's
hold on.
closed. Right.
I've been at home this whole time. I don't really know. I don't leave.
Jeff, you hear the coronavirus?
Yeah, I was gonna go to.
I've
No, my
heard
dog
of
got
it, but
a
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I've been on a spiritual retreat, man. I just came back to society just now.
Wouldn't it be crazy if someone actually said that?
They have no. That's what happens. Hey, if you don't listen to the media, you wouldn't even know.
True that.
Joey, did you pick a favorite song for Dominic's question?
Man, Paradise Lost was really fun. I think that just kind of the vibe of that song is, really fits with what I like to listen to as well. And but then at the same time, a song like Cathedral Bell is the same thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
When you guys released that one, it was like with headphones on, it's very like you could hear everything. It's very, very trippy. Like I like that one. Definitely a repeat song. But Paradise Lost was great too. I'd say it was even better live. Like even hearing it live was like unreal.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. My pleasure, man.
Remember joining us on Zoom.
He's lost it.
Dominic, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate your question and just being an awesome.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. My pleasure.
Thank you, Dom.
All right, catch you guys later, man.
Sounds good, bud.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
I forgot my mask. We have Megan from Used Family as well joining us.
I know Megan.
Does Megan have your number?
Yes, we do. We do chat.
Yes, we
I'm
do.
gonna hit her up right now. Hey, Megan.
Do you have audio on Megan? Megan, can you hear us?
Click the audio.
Hold on.
Yeah, there she is.
Ooh, I just heard something or other.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, man.
Okay, good.
Cool, crazy story. Megan and I are all kind of related in a weird way. Isn't your aunt married to my uncle or something like that?
My cousin.
That's right.
My cousin is married to your uncle.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah.
Megan, did you know that when you became a fan of the band, or was that something you guys discovered after talking?
I did know that. My cousin told me when she found out that I was a fan, and then I relayed that to Bert when we met. So
I remember when I first met Megan, it was when we were on tour with Joey's band, Hell or High Water.
Oh man.
And we share a lot of similarities, Megan and I, through drug addiction and recovery. And so, yeah, we talked that night, but we became close friends and been chatting ever since. Good to see you, Megan.
So good to see you.
Megan, what's your question for the guys?
My question is, since we're all quarantined and going a little crazy without our live music right now, what song on Heartwork are you most looking forward to playing live, and why?
I'm excited to play the lottery.
Yeah.
I think people might die in the pit. We haven't seen anything like that, so hopefully you don't die.
Looking forward to it.
I love playing. I've said this before, but playing when we first started jamming Blow Me, and the 5 times we played Paradise Lost, maybe 6, something like that. Both of those songs feel like we've been playing them for years. It's just something strange. Not always happens with new songs we're trying to incorporate into the live set, but yeah, for some reason, both of these songs are songs that felt like, I think they're all right. Both songs felt like they were right. They'd been a part of the band for a long time, familiar friends. So yeah, I can't wait to play. I can't wait to play Bloody Nose. Can't wait to play.
That one's my favorite.
Cathedral Bell too. I really am excited about.
Yeah,
it'll be a fun one. Bloody Nose for sure.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward to it. I can't wait for Bloody Nose. That one I just jam constantly. The last month I've probably listened to it 1,000 times. So
Nice. Love it. Track 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan, thank you so much.
Yeah, so good to see you guys. Thanks for
Great
having
to
me.
see you. Stay safe.
Okay, love you.
Love ya.
Ooh. Thanks.
Well, guys, I can't. This went by very fast, but we've been talking now for almost like an hour and a half. There is so much to still dive into with the record, but I guess in closing here, it's just time for people to listen to it if they haven't. And if I can just, not that my opinion means anything, but I think when a band has earned as much favor as you guys have earned, right, over the years, you're willing to give that band a pass if you love them so much. You guys did not lower the bar at all. You have raised it to, and I know I sound like a fanboy right now, it is a really incredible body of work. I mean, this is a really impressive, competitive, cutting-edge body of work. And thank you for letting me listen to it early and letting me chat with you guys today. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
We
it's been a
can't
lot
wait
of
for
fun
people to
see
hear
everybody.
it. Yeah, great to see all the boys. It's been too long. Can't wait to get back on the real road with my real
Can't wait.
friends.
Can't wait.
Guys, thank you.
I see